Well, look at this thing. We just got a fresh polish on the Duramax just in time for one of you guys to take this little girl home. Hit the link down below, and if you don't need a truck, well, guess what? You can also take 15 grand cash instead of the truck. $15,000 goes quite a long ways when you're trying to build race cars. Today's transmission day for the 10. We should have all the parts at the shop to get that transmission together. On the way, I'm gonna stop, grab my Red Line cocktail. Thankfully, there's one dealer here that sells the Red Line products. So I'm gonna grab the cocktail, which I think is 2 MTL and 1 MT90. I could have that backwards. It could be 2 MT90, 1 MTL. I'll have to double check when I get there, but grab that and then head to the shop. We need to weld up that transmission case. Let's just go to the shop and I'll show you guys what we're doing. How's that sound, Piston? Look at this dude. Look at this dude. So I got the gear oil. It is indeed 2 MTL and 1 MT90. That is the cocktail for an Evo 10. I find it to help quite a bit with shifting and smoothness. First thing I need to get taken care of is this casing here. This is where it wore through. Right down in there, it popped a hole in the case from these pins backing out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that guy cleaned up with some degreaser, pressure wash, blow it off the compressed air, get it all cleaned up so we can get that welded. We could also just replace the case, but not only would that be more expensive, I also do not have one here readily available to go, so that would take much more time as well. Got this guy cleaned up. JB weld is removed and you can see where she is damaged. I've TIGged plenty of clean, not cast aluminum before, but being an area that we already know is thin because it's freaking leaking and being cast and dirty and oily, this is a pretty complex weld, if you ask me. So I'm gonna bring this up the road. There's a dude literally 3 minutes away who's a really good TIG welder, and I'll have him weld this up because if I weld it, I'll probably make it worse. It'll probably leak, and if that leaks, that'll be frustrating. So I got the case welded up. That looks probably 100 times better than my weld would have looked, and I know it's gonna seal. So that's taken care of. That's ready to be reassembled. Now we need to take care of this. So there's two options here. Well, there's a couple different options. We can replace the entire unit. You can buy upgraded pins, or the easiest, cheapest, and most effective and efficient way is going to be to tap those guys back in and tack weld them in place. So that is what I'm going to do. If you weld them in place, they're never going to come back out. Just to confirm we're actually good with welding these things in place, I'm going to talk to a few different people that actually drag these cars to see if that's a good idea or a dumb idea. I know some people online have done it, so I'm sure it would work. I don't want to have to pull this transmission back out tomorrow. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get this guy cleaned up, and we need to get all of that ready to go back in the trans. Easiest way to get your gasket surfaces cleaned up, I like to do this while there's degreaser on it. Grab a little wire wheel, put it on your drill, and clean them up. Both cases are cleaned up, ready to go. Forks, both gear sets, reverse, everything is cleaned and ready to go. Got some answers on this. I figured I'd share this with you. Did a little bit of research, talked to a bunch of different knowledgeable people in the Evo industry, and here's what you need to know. So 08 to I want to say 2010 is the older style diff pin. That's what we have. My car's at 08. 2011 and newer, I could be a little bit off on the years, but they have an updated diff pin, different color. It's more of like a dark gray looking color. Those never fail. So apparently Mitsubishi knew that this was going to be a problem. They upgraded them in, let's say 2011. Shep Transmission makes an upgraded kit. That seems to be the best route to go with. It's only $175. And then the last option was going to be the option that I was going to do, which would be to tack weld them in place. Now, while that might work short term, I don't want to put this transmission back together, back in the car with welded diff pins in place, and then have that be a problem later on. So I wouldn't recommend it. There has been some people that do weld them in place. But another thing is, my pins are a little scored up. Let me go ahead and pull a pin out and I'll show you what happens when these things back out. They get pretty beat up. So here's a diff pin. Here's what it looks like. This is the older version. Now you can see on the edge here, it's pretty scarred up. You guys see that? So like I said, well, it might work temporarily to just put these things back in place and weld them in place. Long term, I don't think that's the best route, and I'm trying to get away from these short term, let's get the car back on the road today type fixes. So I'm gonna wait for a Shep kit to come in. It's $175, like I said, and it literally says on their website, we have not had one single failure using these pins. I'm willing to wait a day, but I guess that leaves me with the question of what am I gonna do today? I think I know. I was undecided for a while. I asked you guys on Instagram, should we do a black roof on the Evo 8? So it really truly matches the Huracan, and it's like 90% of you guys said yes. So let's wrap the roof on this car real quick. I also have a couple other little parts, like a vortex generator, something to go in the wing, just random stuff like that, that I figured I might as well get on while we wait on parts for the Evo 10 transmission. I also did order a surprise goodie for the trans as well, so that'll spice things up a little bit. Brand new, fresh paint on the entire car, and a couple months old. Probably don't need to worry about clay barring it, but I'm going to anyway because I want it to look perfect. Clay bar, clean with IPA. I need to pop the back of the headliner down. We got to pull the antenna out so it has perfect, ample coverage everywhere. I know some people just trim around the antenna. First car I ever had the roof wrapped on by somebody else, that's what they did, is actually that Evo 10. And you could see white around the whole entire antenna. It was not ideal, so don't do that. Now, a lot of times I would go ahead and pull off the roof moldings. Now, if you've ever removed an Evo 8, Evo 9 roof trim, roof molding, it runs from the bottom of the front windshield all the way to the bottom of the rear glass. So it's super long. They're very expensive, hard to find. I'm not even gonna risk it. I'm comfortable I can get full coverage with the vinyl wrap without removing those. So the first thing we're gonna do after it's clay barred is go through and clean out underneath the seals. Now, like I said, this thing's pretty much got a brand new paint job, so all those should be nice and clean anyway. But we're gonna take our IPA and a microfiber. We're gonna take our microfiber and grab the hard end of a squeegee, put a little bit of IPA on it, and just run that in the seal. Oh yeah, that thing's clean as could be. All right, guys, the antenna's off. All the seals are cleaned. I went ahead and taped this guy down so it's not in the way. One final cleaning on the roof itself, and we can lay out the vinyl. So if you have two people, you can peel the backing and then set it on the roof, but if you're just doing this yourself, I find it easiest to just put the wrap on the roof and then peel the backing. We are wrapping today with the 3M 2080, and it does come with a protective liner, so it should keep it brand new looking as we wrap. Wrap is applied to the roof. Now we need to glass it out. There she is, fully glassed out. No more wrinkles. Now, starting from the center, working our way to the outside, we are going to squeegee all of the air out of the vinyl. So the wrap is fully squeegeed onto the roof. All air's out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull our protective liner off of the roof, revealing brand new wrap. Because all the squeegee lines are on this protective liner. I'm gonna start with trimming the sides first and tucking the sides, and then move on to the front and back. Now let's hope I left enough material on there to cover all the yellow, which I believe I did. Front and back are all trimmed and tucked. The The last thing we need to do is the sunroof section. Now, being that the sunroof is always going to be riding against the vinyl whenever I open and close it, I'm going to be sure to completely tuck that in. If there's any hard edges on the vinyl, eventually it will lift. The roof is complete, and I'm gonna be honest. At first, as I was wrapping it, I would stand back and I was not sure on it. But now, seeing it complete, I really like it. There was so much yellow on the car, which of course is not a bad thing. Yellow is a very bright color, but there's a reason the Lambo looks so good with a black roof. Black roof on a light color car looks, in my opinion, very proper. What do you guys think? I'll pull it outside here in a second so we can get a better look. But before that, I have a vortex generator from Rexpeed. I was waiting to put this guy on until I was decided whether or not it's gonna get a black roof. Here we are with a black roof. So let's go ahead and get this guy installed as well. 8s and 9s, if I'm not mistaken, come brand new from the dealer with one of these installed. I have a lot of other Rexpeed parts on the car. The skirts, the front lip, that rear diffuser, a couple other little things. So I know the Rexpeed parts always fit nice. So on each end, you see these little flaps right here. Those are supposed to tuck under the drip moldings. Man, on this piece, I'm a little undecided. I haven't double side taped it on yet. I just put it underneath the drip molding. This thing here, I did order it in the OEM color, which is kind of like that dark gray. Same color as the diffuser section on the bumper. So it looks a little bit silly on the black roof. I don't know, honestly, if I'm gonna run that. I kind of like the look of the car better without it, if I'm being honest. For now, I'm going to run the car without that guy. If I do decide to run one, I'm just gonna order a black one so it matches the roof. But there's one more little part. I've had this thing laying around as well forever. This is like a little lip that goes on the spoiler. Very tiny piece. It's like 20 bucks. And I thought it would look cool. I just set it up on here and it's a nice subtle little touch. I actually really like it. So this guy is definitely gonna go on. Like I said, man, that is a very subtle little piece, but I think it's pretty cool. That thing was super cheap too. So if we don't like that, we can just rip it off and throw it away. I've never seen a car with a black roof and thought to myself, that doesn't look very good. That looks super good on this car. I completely changed the entire look. What do you guys think? I think it looks freaking amazing. This is it. That is the final look of the Evo 8. I don't plan on changing anything else exterior wise with this car ever. The only thing I could possibly change are the wheels, but I don't see any other style of wheel that would suit this car better than the ZR10s. I test fitted TEs, I test fitted CEs. I think these are the best looking wheel for this chassis.